I stood frozen, phone in hand, staring at the confirmation email that had just appeared on our shared account. In the kitchen, my wife Sarah moved quickly, humming softly while reaching for her purse. "I'm going out to dinner with some friends," she said, her voice light, too light, almost forced. I wanted to take her at her word, but the email pulsed in my mind like a warning. A hotel room, reserved for tonight. Her name on the booking. My stomach tightened. "That's strange," I said carefully. "I just saw a hotel reservation under your name." Her humming stopped. The air seemed to thicken. She froze with her hand hovering over the car keys. "What are you talking about?" she snapped, her tone sharp, defensive. I turned the screen toward her. Her eyes darted to the email, then back to me. For a flicker of a moment, something crossed her face, guilt or maybe fear. "It's not what you think," she said quickly, her words tumbling over each other, missing their usual confidence. I stayed silent, waiting. The pause pressed heavy between us. Finally, she said, "It's for work. A client's in town just a night, and I booked a room for them. I'm meeting them for dinner first." The explanation sounded plausible enough, but her tone carried something rehearsed, too polished, as if she prepared for this very conversation. I nodded slowly, not pushing further, though my mind spun with questions. Why hadn't she mentioned this earlier? And why reserve the room in her name instead of through her company? I let her leave, watching from the window as her car pulled out of the driveway. The house settled into a silence that felt unnatural, a silence that fed my doubts. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the email again. Sarah had been distant lately, working late, giving vague answers. I had brushed it off as stress, but now the cracks felt wider. Almost without thinking, I opened her calendar on my laptop. There was dinner with friends, 7 p.m., nothing about a client, nothing about a hotel. I told myself I was being paranoid, but the unease gnawed at me until I couldn't sit still. Grabbing my keys, I drove to the restaurant she'd named, a trendy downtown spot. Her car was there, parked neatly outside. I sat in my truck, watching the entrance, feeling like some cliché in a bad detective movie. A group of friends eventually walked out, laughing, but Sarah wasn't among them. Then I spotted her stepping out alone, face lit by her phone screen. She didn't look like someone meeting girlfriends for dinner. She got into her car and drove off. Against every bit of common sense, I followed, my pulse hammered, as I trailed her through the city, not toward home, but straight to the hotel from the email. I watched as she parked, walked inside, and disappeared behind the glass doors. My hands gripped the wheel, torn between leaving and going in. What did I even want? Proof? Closure? Inside, the lobby gleamed, polished, expensive, not the kind of place for a casual client meeting. I lingered near the elevators, scanning for her. Then I saw her. She stepped out of the bar with a man I didn't recognize. Older, well-dressed. His hand brushed her arm as they laughed together. My chest tightened. She hadn't lied about a meeting, but this wasn't business. I ducked behind a pillar, ashamed of how foolish I felt, yet unable to tear my eyes away. They moved toward the elevators, and I followed at a distance, my heart thundering in my ears. As the doors closed, I caught one last glimpse of her, her face relaxed, even happy, in a way I hadn't seen in months. I forced myself into the next elevator, anger and disbelief warring inside me. On the floor listed in the email, I stopped outside the room number, hesitation clawing at me. Confronting her could shatter everything, but leaving would feel like surrender. I knocked. No answer. I knocked again, harder. The door opened. Sarah stood there, face draining of color. "What are you doing here?" she whispered, eyes flicking nervously back into the room. Inside, the man sat on the edge of the bed, looking just as stunned as she was. "We need to talk," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. She stepped out, closing the door behind her, and in that moment, I knew everything between us was about to change forever.